there's a lot of things I watched this year that I thought were pretty good. But I guess the standouts to me would have to be Peacemaker, which was
Yeah.
DC. I really enjoyed the last Suicide Squad film,
Hmm.
and Peacemaker was the interesting part of that, and they nailed it with the series. I just thought that it was so funny, um, and they really
John,
made you like care about John Cena as just a jerk who has daddy issues and like just wants to be loved, but he's an ass. It's so good.
legally.
Yeah.
Yeah, John and I had like differing opinions about that, but I really thought the series like picked up. I thought it had a bit of a flat start
Mhm.
because like it was a little like to me a little bit one note and then it just like ramped and went and I was so glad I stuck with it.
Yeah. So John, you liked it or you didn't like it?
He did
hated
not
it,
like
but
it.
I
Oh,
He
but
hated
I
it.
but I only saw I don't remember what we covered for the podcast. I only saw the first
At
3
least
episodes.
2, 3, yeah.
Yeah.
It was not to the point where I thought they really got to like the redemptive like character growth
mhm.
because
Yeah.
there was a lot of like starting out in just like a very like angry like one note presentation kind of space and
Yeah.
the series had room to grow and it got there but it was a little troubling at the beginning. I was a little worried.
I liked how much of a
Peacemaker okay.
Oh no, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say how much of like an ensemble show
Yeah.
it really became. Like
Mhm.
all of the
Yeah.
characters. It was the Peacemaker, but like all of the characters were complex and interesting and had their own
Hmm.
arcs. So
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree.
Peacemaker is exactly the reason that like it continues to show why I think a person should be concerned with James Gunn taking over the DC universe in movie format because he can make very entertaining content, though I wasn't entertained by Peacemaker. But if we look at some of the previous stuff, but he has no care for any sort of like continuity or um, like cohesion with source material. Could not
Mhm.
care less. Very clearly in everything he does in this space. So whether it's Guardians, whether it's Suicide Squad, or it's the more specifically the character with Peacemaker, like he wants to take these ideas, these characters, and do his own thing.
Mhm.
It's like on record that for Peacemaker, he told Cena, "Don't read any of the comics. Like,
Mhm.
don't don't look at this. The character we're basing you on, I don't want you to know that because I'm telling you what you are. You don't, have no other context." And we have that we see that all the time. Like we have that with The Last of Us now. They literally told the actors for Ellie, "Have you played the video game?" She said no, and they said keep it that way. And she admitted she snuck watching some people play it. But so we have this over and over, and so that's just a concerning thing. Like again, with Peacemaker, like if anyone's a fan of the character Peacemaker, this is a complete bastardization of that character. And you
were
know,
there actually
but
Peacemaker fans before this?
I don't know. He existed. Like
There's
I
gotta
had
be.
a card of him. I had a trading card.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I don't know. But see, that's what he's kind of gotten away with in the past. Guardians of the Galaxy, very little known. Suicide
Yep.
Squad, no one knows. So people give him the ability to take and rewrite these things, and there's not very many people that are going to be in uproar because they're unheard of largely. But now he's taking over Superman and Green Lantern and Wonder Woman and much more prominent figures. And so his lip service to like care for the canon and these IP don't mean anything based on his track record until we see it come to fruition. So
I think the same could be said about Zack Snyder, though. I mean, he did kind of rewrite like things about Superman and his
But
homeworld and things.
is that things about Superman or is that Superman? Do you know what I mean?
I
I guess I
Like
don't know.
people
here's
have
the
a
theory.
tolerance, I think, for like some changes, but I don't think people have a tolerance for like complete 180s. And this is, I mean, this is still coming from somebody who like really enjoyed, opposite of John, enjoyed Peacemaker
Mhm.
and Suicide Squad. I know you enjoyed Suicide Squad, John, but I'm just saying I enjoyed both of them and didn't mind that. But I can see where like people would have mild issues with like changing some aspects of a character and have like major rage about, you know, just being unrecognizable.
Sure. And I'm
Mhm.
coming from the perspective of never meeting these characters before and just
Right.
deciding to watch it just because, all right, there's something to watch and let's see what DC. I mean, I guess just in terms of DC quality, um,
Can it really go down?
it's been a lot of waiting for it to be a little bit more of what I was hoping, and I felt like this
Mm-hmm.
was kind of an uptick in quality, and so maybe it's not what people are envisioning or hoping for the people who know the characters, but I don't know. I guess yeah, I came
I
in
think I
to it.
think that the DC universe could just be much better served by not trying to be Marvel universe. Like, don't try to
Mhm.
make it a universe at this point. Their
Yep.
best productions have been what were, I think, intended to be one-offs and then spin-offs from those one-offs. You know,
Yeah.
or I guess Suicide
Joker.
Squad technically tied in somehow in some ways to the first
Yeah.
one, but felt
I
original.
Yeah,
mean,
no, I agree.
I have all different feelings about this, but like I agree with the larger sentiment of like DC could be better served not trying to be Marvel
Mhm.
because I'm not interested in Marvel 2.0. And
Mhm.
there are things about DC that I've enjoyed and I just don't need like a three-peat, universe tying like this character to this character, like this whatever. Just
Mhm.
like make some fun movies.
Mhm.
Like one of my favorite movies is Shazam. I loved it. Like I thought it was
It's good.
awesome. It was good fun, but it wasn't concerned with like tying into anybody else.
The
So don't.
Shaquille O'Neal Shazam.
Mm-hmm,
Obviously, that's what I meant.
It was Shazam, right? That was the Shaq movie. Am I wrong on that?
Or is it
Is it
Kazam?
just
Zam, Kazam,
Kazam? Yeah.
Zam.
Oh
Great,
God.
great movie. Great movie.
Yeah.
Great bad movie.
Yeah. You know, I think we're finally, and maybe I'll be proven wrong. Maybe, James Gunn will really pull something out of the hat. But I think that we're finally on the you expressed being kind of over the superhero stuff, Shane, and I think we're on the other side of the hill. Like we're on the downslope now. Like we're finally, where going up the hill, people start jumping off the ride at varying points. I think we've like come over the peak now where more and more people are just they're going to look for something else.
Mhm.
And I think some people predicted this would happen 5 years ago, longer, because I remember people talking about superhero fatigue a while ago. But it's kind of one of those things. If the quality keeps coming, you're kind of still on board. It's like, oh well, it's the thing. It's out. I'll see it. It's fine.
Mhm.
Stay on the ride. But I think finally, I was elated to hear that Dana, our friend Dana, who we had on the podcast last week, had been disappointed by a number of the last Marvel entries that she'd seen. So that to me, it means it's like the audience keeps expanding of people that are just kind of checking out. And so
Mhm.
Why is she? Why do you? So, what kind of Marvel fan is Dana?
I just see her, and Dana can correct me if I'm wrong, but I see her as what most people are,
Yeah, I was gonna say
bring the family
representative
to
of
the
the
Marvel
broader audience.
thing. Yeah, right. She's not like, I've been into the comics for years, or I absolutely must see every movie and like day one or something. It's just like, I'm going to watch all the films that come out. They're fun. I have a good time with them and I look forward to it. But it's like, it kind of ends there. Like it ends when you leave the theater or you're done watching the movie.
Mhm.
Not moving into like the fandom area,
Mhm.
the people that are going to see it multiple times and like have discussions about it like we do or whatever. And again, Dana, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I envision her viewing habits are with that.
I think I mentioned that I feel the same way, like the fatigue with all the suit, especially the Marvel stuff. But I think it started with when they started just pumping out all the TV shows. It really started just being like there's a what do they call it? Like sort of a
Diminishing returns.
diminishing return of like, like
Mhm.
there's just so much that like, how do you A, watch it all, and B, take
Mhm.
the time to actually enjoy it or digest it or whatever. And honestly, like it almost felt, from one series to another, just, we're just going to change the actor and the character, but the plot's essentially going to be the same.
Mhm.
I will say that the one Marvel series that came out in the last year that I watched that I actually enjoyed was She-Hulk, because it felt like it was actually a little bit different than everything else that had been coming out.
Mhm.
Plot wasn't just like the beat 'em up at the end of the show with the big bad guy, and
Mhm.
a little bit different. It was a little bit more refreshing. They had some interesting takes on the show, different themes than had been you know, used in other series or movies. But
Yeah, I mean, for me, no surprise to anybody who's ever watched this show before. WandaVision, the OG like Marvel show, has my heart. It just like was everything I wanted out of like extra content from Marvel. And then yeah, just like really started sliding down where I was like, I've seen this. This feels formulaic. This is not as exciting as I thought it would be. Not that there weren't good moments of shows, but like, yeah, it's tough.
yeah, it does feel a little bit like what they're doing is planting too many seeds, like
Hmm.
this is maybe going to pay off later or be something later, but it's like, what about now? Like, what about this production? Like, let's make that good.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like the first phase, everything built up to the big finale of Infinity War and Endgame. And like I was checked out like a couple movies before those came along, and then those pulled me back in. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this is what it was all coming for.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it was kind of like, okay, they're kind of switching some things up, but it's not entirely, different. Um, and then I got a little bit excited with WandaVision because it was a new format and they could play with something. I'm like, okay, now they're gonna be a little bit more risky. But then I agree
Hmm.
that like it kind of went back into that same thing, and now I just feel like because I went and saw Wakanda Forever for like a work event,
Hmm.
um, and just everything feels like they don't know what they're going for, so they're just thinking like, all right, let's think of every single comic run that was popular and let's just do them all at once and not like try and tie or like have a progression. It's just throw it at the wall and see which one sticks, and
Right.
then maybe we'll keep going with whichever one people latch onto
Right.
the most. I don't know.
Yeah, like the progression is still there, but it feels less meaningful. It feels less like impactful. It feels less intentional.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's still sort of like we have phases and we're building to things, but like there's no clear like direction.
Hmm. So I'm definitely burnt out on all that
Hmm.
stuff.
Well, I want to go into some time talking a little bit about streaming in general, but I've already hijacked your list, Dustin.
Oh
What
yeah.
else you got?
Oh, yeah, I won't get into too much more. I didn't realize Peacemaker was going to be such a heavy topic.